I mean, admittedly, like you really like extra experience the suffering while you're in an indoor trainer because you can't rely on like cruising anymore. You really have to keep pedaling.
Yeah.
So but afterwards I feel great. Like it's just during that I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, I'm happy for both of you.
Karen, I like the side of you, na parang it's new to me, na parang, it's all about suffering. It's all...
So good evening and welcome to the Cycling Matters podcast, your weekly dose of discussions about our love for bikes.
Bike.
Yay! So this podcast is brought to you in cooperation with Ciclo. Hello, I'm Karen.
I'm Jan.
I'm King. Hello.
So in this episode, we're going to be talking about the importance of exercise and physical activity during the pandemic, given the guidelines that were just released today, May 13, 2020, on limited outdoor exercising. But before everything else, do subscribe to the Cycling Matters podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. We release new episodes every Monday. Just search Cycling Matters, tap subscribe or follow, and enjoy the discussion. So, I guess, just to set the context a bit, I'm not sure if you guys have seen all the MECQ,
We have our news today.
all the guidelines, and it's pretty interesting because finally they recognize the need for exercise, and they have set some guidelines for limited outdoor exercise. But I know personally, I think that exercise should have been recognized as a necessity from the very beginning, like of this pandemic.
In the international setting, a lot of countries already put in place some guidelines for how people can exercise because it's important. But we need exercise in order to maintain our bodies to keep physically fit so that we can stay stronger and not be susceptible to COVID-19.
And
Right?
it's not just like with COVID-19 because there are other than COVID-19, like there are other health issues that Filipinos experience. Like some of the common underlying conditions that Filipinos have include like diabetes, cardiovascular illnesses, and usually like one of the big like important things that doctors and medical professionals recommend is to get regular physical exercise, and so that we avoid overloading hospitals, as well as if we have these conditions, potentially exposing ourselves to the virus itself.
And the thing also is that not everyone has access to space even inside their house to exercise, diba? Or even indoor equipment like indoor bike trainers. So there was an opportunity there to use our public spaces while maintaining social distancing in order to exercise. But I guess it's also fair for us to recognize that perhaps they were trying to concentrate more on the fact that we need to keep people away from each other, and it's good that they've recognized through these new guidelines about three different acronyms natin now, ECQ, MECQ, GCQ, right? And some people are also making up their own acronyms like Haina Q, Ewan Q, barbecue.
Nakabasa na pala a Q.
And so I guess what we got from the press con kanina, no, lunch, I think around lunchtime, was that originally for ECQ, bikes were allowed, but suddenly since there's ECQ and MECQ, bawal na magbike, bawal na yung bicycles, motorcycles, and scooters during ECQ, but bikes are allowed for exercise and transport when for places that are under MECQ, which is somewhat understandable but still weird, because why would you keep people from using bikes as transport in places that are under ECQ when that's the only thing that people can use kung wala silang kotse.
Yes. So I guess sometimes I think there's speculation that okay, maybe it's just to differentiate, like what it would be like with the new normal. Like I mean, ECQ is different then, so this ECQ is different now. But then I guess personally, like an issue I have with it is one, what makes because it says in the guidelines that people with personal vehicles can use those during ECQ
Mm.
in the new normal, but then bikes, e-scooters, and motorcycles can't. So what's so different with the personal vehicle? I mean, like how can you really monitor that, like the even though they're just two people in a car or something, how do you know that like hindi sila nag-carpool na or ganun, tapos may tinted windows pa and stuff.
Yeah.
So, and even under ECQ, for the new normal, um their essential workers still have to
Mm.
work. I mean, although the thing is that by Friday, May 15, um, particularly like high risk areas like NCR, Cebu will be under modified ECQ. So, but still, I think the point that we want to make is that how come under us like ECQ, whether it's in the new normal or whatever, are they why do they still allow personal vehicles but then not bikes, motorcycles, e-scooters, when you can easily just strictly put physical distancing
Mm.
measures in place, like just one rider per mode of transport.
Now, while that question is still waiting for an answer from the government, no, maybe they'll need time to figure that out. I think there's another press con tomorrow. Um, our question for the day is: given this new development, would you bike or would you not bike, either for transport or for exercise, or simply put, to bike or not to bike?
That's the
But
question.
before we go to that, let's acknowledge first our watchers or viewers. Christopher King is here.
Hi.
Hi, Omi Castañar, and Michael Fedelicio.
Hey guys.
For watching. Okay, so I guess let's start muna within our circle while we're waiting for our viewers to answer that question. Kayo, magbabike na ba kayo?
King.
Sa akin, gusto ko mag-bike pero isip ko nga gusto ko mag-bike to Antipolo, yung the usual stuff. Parang akyat ulit ang bundok. But now, parang gusto ko lang mag-bike papuntang bahay ng parents ko sa Antipolo. Alam mo yun, para makabisis. Kasi layo from QC, tapos sa Antipolo. Iba-ibang, alam ko maraming checkpoints yung kailangang daanan. So parang, paano maapektuhan yung, kung gusto ko umuwi, diba? Parang, paano siya? Iba-iba siguro yung, lalabas ako ng NCR, baka iba yung patakaran sa QC, pagdating sa Marikina, Cainta, Antipolo, yun yung mga dinadaanan hanggang bahay ng parents ko. So, for me, kung kaya, gusto ko mag-bike, just to visit, kasi sobrang tagal na hindi ko sila nakita, puro video call na lang. So, yun yung sa akin. How about you?
For me, I'd want to bike around my village at least for exercise, but my big concern is seeing how things have been implemented during quarantine. I don't know, because there might be inconsistencies with certain villages, or certain villages could be implementing certain things differently. So and honestly, like I've come from a gated community, and usually the things put in place are very restrictive, even though we're in a very protected village. They really banned exercise before this. So I'll still have to wait for a memo to be sent, because I I don't want any military people to arrest me. So and also I have indoor cycling as well. But although I really do miss riding outdoors, and I'm glad that they have put some some guidelines for limited outdoor exercise, but I have to see personally first. How about you, Jan?
I'm super eager to ride out, pero not necessarily long distance. Um, Luckily, and also it's like a blessing and a curse. Dito sa Mandaluyong area, medyo may climbs naman eh. Like pioneer area paakyat eh. So I'm hoping na siguro try ko MWF, or kung kaya nga araw-araw, try ko umikot ng Pioneer, Sheridan, tapos hindi ko maalala yung other street na yun paikot. Just that loop, masaya na ako doon. And it's also safe enough kasi since hindi pa naman GCQ, hindi pa ganun karami yung kotse. So I think I can do that loop very safely. Let's look at some of the answers of our viewers. Sabi ni Cheese and Years, personally, parang ayaw ko pa rin lumabas ng bahay, to be honest, kasi I don't want to endanger my family when I go home after being exposed to outside. That's definitely valid, no? Of course, if someone is going out, that's another point of possible infection.
It's sobrang valid concern kasi pag inisip ko hindi lang siya sa cycling. Halimbawa kung dadaan ka ng checkpoint, sino yung mga tao na makakasalamuha mo, mga mag-i-inspect sa'yo, sobrang may expose ka to different factors.
And there have been a lot of reported cases of PNP officials getting COVID, so it's pretty risky nga.
See, Jobert Shao also says he doesn't think he'll be able to go on a long trip because I don't think it's safe pa due to COVID-19. Of course, it just makes sense to be on the safe side. Sabi naman ni Omi Castañar, I've been biking as means of transport since ECQ started. So yes na yes, no choice eh. Pero for leisure, not sure. Problema yung checkpoints, unpredictable. Similar to King's concern.
Yeah. Tapos si Vincent Blasa, bike all the time. I guess parang you can bike, and meron namang ibang mga preventive precautionary measures that you can do. You can prepare. So I guess doable. We'll see.
Okay. It seems that we have a viewer who's requesting us to speak English because he's from another country. Hi, thank you for watching.
Welcome.
So yes, we'll start speaking in English.
We'll try.
But forgive us if we slip and mention some Filipino words.
Yeah, and if you have questions, you can just write them on the comment section.
Yeah, like if we mention Filipino terms, you can always ask, like, what does this mean?
I guess the last comment. Sorry?
Welcome, Ratna.
Yes.
Okay.
In the last comment, nag-reply si Chi. Sabi niya, Jan, dami na ahon sa Mandaluyong. Solve ka na Jan. It means, Jan, there are so many climbs in Mandaluyong, so your problem is solved. And I agree. Yeah. And Wo Rance also says, I think it depends on the area if it's high risk or not, which is actually, yes, that's very smart. So there are many considerations, no? I think there are several things that we different people are thinking about. And I guess the question now is, what kind of considerations do people have in terms of answering the question to bike or not to bike? And the first thing we see is that there's transmission and distancing. Maintaining social distancing and making sure, just like Chi said, that you're not coming back home infected. I think that's a big concern for a lot of people.
Although I do remember a study showing, like, when you're outdoors, like because COVID isn't transmitted via air, it's more of the droplets. So because when you're outside, like, it's like the air isn't like concentrated, so it's more of a concern for enclosed spaces. So I guess if you're cycling to maybe like air run somewhere, that's just something to consider, given that also like people abroad have been cycling, like, but doing it like solo rides, making sure to practice physical distancing.
Another thing that we need to consider also is that, of course, we can't deny that with cycling, there's a possibility or a risk of getting into an accident. And it's a valid concern, but we don't want to put a strain, and we don't want to be, ayaw nating dumagdag, we don't want to add to the already high volume or high number of people that have to be attended to by our medical response teams. And And if we can try to avoid those accidents, we'd actually be helping our frontliners. So that's one consideration. If you're going to go out and ride, maybe if you're confident enough with your skills, maybe if the conditions are ideal, it's not raining, and you don't have to worry about um, possibly crashing, then it might be good for you to ride out. But if you're still not confident, since we're we're encouraging a lot of people to start biking, right? If you're still not confident and you think that the road out there isn't so safe yet, maybe it's something that you want to be cautious about.
I think Jan, parang this raises a valid concern about, kasi parang we see a lot of Facebook posts and shares na merong na-crash, na-accidental with another vehicle, and then you see comments like, ang luwag-luwag ng kalsada, no vehicles around, and you still get into an accident. For me, parang it also raises parang the issue or the concern na we need to put a lot more safer infrastructure, or like safer parang safe systems in place to encourage safe cycling. Kasi halimbawa nakita ito, kinoment ni Omi Castañar na scary rin yung mga speeding vehicles, and we see this a lot now kasi parang along nakikita na mabilis kahit man hindi naman highway, like it's so nakaka-endanger siya, not just sa cyclist pero for everyone, no?
Yeah,
So yun.
yeah, just to translate into English, King was saying that like cars really go at faster speeds. Like I think motorists have generally been more reckless during this time. Yeah, they've been going at like breakneck speeds just because there aren't that many cars, and it's and even though like the roads are wider and more empty, it's really been a danger to those who bike, and it's really like heartbreaking because a lot of these are frontliners, a lot of these are medical workers who we desperately need right now. So we do hope that LGUs and communities will, and even like drivers, please, will really put like safe measures to make sure that people on bikes are safe, whether it's for exercise or for actual commuting.
And it's not even a new request, right? This whole request for bike lanes just so we're safer for cars is something that a lot of my friends when we talk about cycling, they say that what, I would really consider cycling if it were just safer because I'm really terrified by the cars, and there has to be a lot of action. We need a lot of action to be done there. And I think also one consideration that must be made is to actually provide space for safe cycling and exercise. Sure, with the MECQ, modified enhanced community quarantine, they've already allowed and probably are encouraging people to do more exercise, but not everyone has the space to even do yoga. As in, there are a lot of people who live in really small spaces and wouldn't have the space to exercise. And that's where going outdoors becomes an option. But how will that become a viable option if the cars are still reserved to, or if our roads are still reserved for cars? So I think in our last live episode with Anton C, diba, we were discussing the idea of tactical urbanism. We need the government to provide more space for people to exercise, whether that's jogging, children playing. I'm not sure what the Filipino games na pwede mag-social distance, but also cycling. But, and other than just exercise and providing a space for people to exercise, that those spaces, if we close down a few minor roads that will allow people to bike, that also will allow the people who don't bike to learn. Now that we're encouraging people to bike and it's an option that a lot of people can take, why don't we give them and provide them space to do so?
Actually, this is a very parang opportune moment or time na parang to encourage everyone to try it out or parang invite our friends to learn halimbawa. For example, my wife, parang she learned cycling sa Pasig, sa car-free road. So it was very, very helpful. It's an open and safe space for learning. Why don't we encourage parang mga open roads such as dun sa Pasig, for example, and then come up with like a program to invite more people to try it out. Or even kung sa mga cyclists na we could hold for programs to maintain your bikes or how to ride safer or more responsible when you're on the road, stuff like that.
Okay, siguro let's visit our comment section before we continue to our next part. Velo Nico, is that a real name or is it a cyclist name?
Velo.
Says, probably within the village for now, maybe a bit of the main city road as long as I won't encounter a large group of people. Karen Silva Crisostomo also says hi. Hi, Karen. She says,
Hey.
hi guys, nice to see you. Always being cautious, of course. Raring to bike. Climb's not a problem here in Antipolo. Probably ride out towards the mountains instead of towards populated areas. Rosario is from Infanta, and I know he would like to visit his mother. Depends on Infanta's guidelines, I guess. So
Yeah.
people are really wanting to visit their family.
Yeah, because I mean this pandemic has separated a lot of families, especially like adult children with their parents. So I mean, I'm personally lucky that I was able to go home to my family since they just live here in
Mhm.
Makati.
Andro Umali also adds to our point about the emergency
Yeah.
response, right? And keeping people away from hospitals. Sabi niya, yes, it's more difficult to be a crash victim due to strain in emergency departments and emergency services. He also adds that we should ride in familiar routes that you know is safe and also regulate your rides.
That's good advice.
Another message from Andrew. Challenge now is faster vehicles. Short-term solution is visibility. Of course, be visible. Be a defensive cyclist. Select the routes with slower vehicles like narrower roads. And of course, acknowledging that infrastructure is a long-term solution that we need to have. Now, before we go to the next part of our episode today, let's go on a bit of a light chat muna. And this is something that I want to ask because it's medyo controversial sa to me. I'm having a hard time accepting this, and I want to know ano yung opinion nyo or what are your takes on indoor training now that a lot of cyclists have there's a lot of cyclists who are not frontliners have had to just stay at home. Ang daming bumibili ng indoor trainers.
Yeah.
Rin nagbebenta ng indoor trainers, di ba? Kamusta yung experience nyo of using indoor training? Doing indoor training?
Ako muna.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Ako, so I've been trying to do indoor training. So meaning indoor cycling on a trainer. So what I do, I follow GCN videos. I watch GCN videos, and then I just try to follow it. I wanted to try Zwift and other training apps. Although, kasi yung speed and cadence sensor ko, it's mounted on my other bike and I can't like transfer it. So I'm relying on my heart rate and my personal or my perceived effort levels. So it's more like that. So I use Fitbit to monitor my progress and my workout. For me, it's super doable. Sometimes it gets boring. I haven't ridden for more than an hour yet, even though I wanted to train for longer rides. But I feel like it's super rewarding. Every after a ride, I'm super sweaty. I'm not sure if that's because it was a good workout. Pero I feel like it's mostly kasi diba super sweaty na ako naturally. So, like,
You're sour when you.
pero pag when I'm doing indoor cycling, I have a towel sa handlebars, sa floor, tapos may extra towel pa ako. Um, Start ako ng ride, nakadamit. Pagkatapos, hubad na ako. Um, Sobrang sweaty. But like, I feel like I'm extra sweaty because I'm not fit as before na. So my body's like adjusting every time I ride, ganyan, because it's not that regular. But I hope it changes soon. So, yun yung sa akin. How about you, Karen?
Oh, for me naman, I was able to start out with Zwift. But when I first got an indoor trainer, okay, I was really lucky that I decided to finally buy one before the ECQ. I think around February. So I started out with GCN videos, but I personally found that difficult because I don't know. I just felt so alone with my suffering. Like, even though like it was helpful for like the people in GCN, like they tell you what to do, but it's still lonely. So um I was finally like convinced to get Zwift, and I was thinking that since I live now with my family for now, I don't spend as much. So I was like, okay, I think it's worth it to get a subscription. And there was a free trial anyway, so if any of you guys want to try it out. So I personally do I started out with group rides because I'm from Team Loyola, and some members also they host virtual rides, and I think that's really what motivated me because like I didn't feel as alone, and plus Zwift, like it kind of has like a virtual reality like component. So it's like you're riding through like maybe parts of London, like New York. So 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 while I can't ride outdoors, kunwari na lang, like that's the outdoors, the virtual reality. And then it's also helpful like when riding with other people. But then recently I started structured workouts. Zwift offers that. I also got my FTP test, and then so Zwift recommended structured workouts for me, and I think because I got used to doing indoor cycling, I developed more of a patience for it. I do like them. There's certain workouts that I don't like. There's one that's called tempo. I really don't like it, but it's
Hi!
I don't like it because um what usually happens is so it's chill first, and then there are two like efforts of harder efforts. I prefer like okay, chill and then super hard effort and then super chill again.
But
Which is
how long yung tempo efforts?
yung sa tempo kasi the tempo was like it's 3 minutes and then another 3 minutes agad of the same. So I guess kasi I guess because my in terms of cardiovascular, I'm not as strong yet because in high school I got pneumonia, so I guess my respiratory system got affected. So anyway, but then I think it's very helpful. I feel like I really I've gotten stronger a bit like compared to before the ECQ, because before the ECQ I hadn't ridden for like regularly for around 3 months. So in April alone I was able to get more distance than I got in like 3 months. So
Nice.
so yeah, um so personally, even though I didn't expect it, because initially I didn't really like indoor cycling, but then I think surprisingly, like Zwift was helpful for me, and I actually ride. I actually do workouts almost every day, if not every day.
Wow.
Wow. Di ba Karen, you promised to ride 100 kilometers?
Oh my gosh, my
Or you
love,
should do it indoor.
my
Di ba?
love. I think I'm trying to work towards that because wala, like that's the only way I can accomplish that goal. So pero but I think the farthest I've gone is like 30 or 40 kilometers on the indoor trainer.
So do you think you can do it like within this year? Kaya kahit indoor, kahit Zwift?
I will try because I do want to accomplish that part of my resolution. But I really can't imagine because I feel like I'll vomit. Because like it's like imagine like 3 hours on the
Yeah.
like, it's really pain. It's already painful on the butt for like 1 hour. Like what more like with 3 hours? Oh my gosh. But Jan, how about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I have very
Hot take.
kanina sabi ko controversial. It's because I joined the call, yung may call sila sa Manila Move si hi, si Andro is here and also our friend Aldrin Paligan, and when in one part they mentioned kamusta kaya yung mga hamster, di ba? And I agree so much. Like to me, indoor training is so hard because I feel like a hamster. It feels so mechanical. And dito ko talaga na-realize, I mean, okay, nung nag-start nung March yung ECQ, I tried Trainer Road, which is sobrang concentrated, very focused training na talagang for strength. And then that got too boring. And then I tried Zwift because yung nga sa team natin, people, it's fun to be riding with people. But still, even if may virtual road and then you see mountains, kunwari nasa New York ka or wherever, it's still different. Hindi pa rin siya tulad ng actual riding. And ito nga sabi kanina ni sa the comment of Karen Chrysostom, she mentioned Antipolo. And I really miss riding outdoors. I think what I learned when I tried indoor training is that what really makes cycling fun to me is not the strength training or the view even. To me, it's really the act of just balancing and by riding out, being, feeling the air, not just an electric fan. um, and really,
Sometimes you don't even feel it anymore because it's so hard.
yeah, and how you manage yourself on the road, even if it's traffic. I really miss my everyday commute, even if I have to filter through the traffic and I have to deal with the different vehicles on the road, just because that entire experience, I don't even think of how difficult it is. It's just that it happens naturally. I have my rhythm on. And once I get to where I need to go, I'm just slightly happier. And that just doesn't happen in indoor training because number one, I'm not even getting anywhere. So those are my feelings about indoor training. But I'm still trying. I mean, we're not sure when we could actually go on long rides. So my bike is still on my indoor trainer, but I'm using it at most once a week, and I'm doing at most like 15 kilometers per virtual ride, and it's just sad. It's
But your feelings are completely valid because I mean even initially that's what I felt because I'm just like I'm not getting anywhere and that's also why I don't do treadmill like cuz I really hate going on the treadmill cuz like I don't go anywhere but then um but for me it's more of like at least personally because there's no way for me to go out yet on a bike. So I just tell myself, okay, like this will make me stronger when I'm actually on the road. Like
yeah.
Yeah.
That's one way. Velo also says in the comments that Netflix helps him do indoor training. Yeah,
same.
I tried that also, but when the movie gets so interesting, I start to dismount from my bike and just sit on my couch. It just
Well, usually what I do, like I have specific videos that I watch
right.
when I'm in indoor training. I have to watch something that isn't new. Like I just need something that's
Mm,
familiar. So like usually it's like John Mulaney specials and and old movies that I've or TV shows that I've watched. Just I just need a distraction because I mean admittedly like you really like extra experience the suffering while you're in an indoor trainer because you can't rely on like cruising anymore. You really have to keep pedaling.
yeah.
So but afterwards I feel great. Like it's just during that I'm like, oh my gosh.
Well, I'm happy for both of you.
Karen, I like the side of you, na parang it's new to me na parang, it's all about suffering. It's all, sometimes you don't feel the wind na because of the sweat. It's like, wow. Like,
I hope it pays. I hope it pays off because I want to get stronger. Yay.
for viewers, if you have like tips for Jan,
Sure, I'm still open to it.
Or
for the
if you
team, Sibelo, mga recommendations how to, enjoy indoor training more.
or if you resonate with Jan, you can also say
Yeah. My people. My people who need open air.
because I remember Jan tweeted about it and there are people who agreed with him. So
Yeah.
just engage in the comments.
So, kanina tinanong natin, like, we asked if you're gonna to bike or not to bike. So for people naman na, na would opt not to bike and not to, go outside, to get their exercise quotas, mga ganyan. Ano naman kaya yung mga pwede nilang gawin? No? So parang kanina, earlier we were talking about workouts, exercises, mga alternatives. So we already shared about indoor cycling. Like for you guys, like ano iniisip nyo na, other alternative exercise options or workouts that you can do at home. Especially now, Jan raised earlier na, some people don't even have the space at home. Parang ano yung mga pwedeng gawin? I want to hear from you guys.
Well, okay, there's indoor cycling, but I've had some recommendations from friends. One thing is you can use mobile apps or computer apps that are specifically for workouts. So, merong Nike training club app. There are also GCN workouts out there, and of course, tulad nga sabi ni like Velo mentioned, Netflix. I've also tried looking for playlists in Spotify with really like energetic hype music, and it helps.
Yeah, I think for example, for particular to cyclists, I think other than like cycling, there are other strengthening exercises that you can do or strengthening balance flexibility. So some of these include yoga. Yoga's very good for balance flexibility as well as Pilates. Pilates because you have to be really in control of your body. Although I've done Pilates workouts already, although I have a very hard time getting into them because they're
I've never tried it.
because even for like I tried a beginner quotation mark beginner one, it wasn't beginner for me. So but personally aside from cycling, I do ballet because I used to dance ballet very regularly. um I've read that ballet is actually very good cross training for a lot of athletes, like whether it's the traditional ballet bar and exercises or like a more fusion derived ballet bar workout because like they do a lot of strengthening. It's really like there's posture and you have to engage so many muscles in ballet. Like you have to think of like your core, you have to think about your shoulders, your arms, your legs, and it's really such an all around workout. So I I sometimes alternate or like if I can't do the intense cardio of cycling, I do ballet. But actually on most days I do both. So I either do ballet first and then immediately go to cycling.
Wow.
Or cycling and then ballet.
Karen, the athlete,
No most no
artistic athlete.
but okay, for a disclaimer, I don't do intense ballet yet because I mean, even though I did it very seriously for 11 years, that was like in high school. But now it's more of like yung mga simple workouts. I focus more on technique. And I follow like YouTube videos like Claudia Dean or Catherine Morgan. These are professional coaches. Like they used to be professional dancers, but then they decided to go to coaching. There are also a lot of local ballet programs like with Lisa Makuha of Ballet Manila, Perry Savidal of Perry Savidal Ballet, Lina Peralejo of Dance by Lina. They're really trained very well. So There are a lot of options, or even just do it on my own because yeah, like it's also like a variation of a workout. And the funny thing is because the attire is very similar. Like dancers wear leotards and tights, and I don't have that anymore. So lycra is a very good substitute because
Right.
you need to see your posture and everything. So and it helps because like one would serve as a warm up for the other. So that's mostly why I do it at the same time because wala sayang na like I'm already sweating, so I'll just do the workout na.
Karen, you raised a very good point na parang even if you can't ride, you can actually do other workouts that activate or recruits the same muscle groups. So if you're if you want to get stronger on the bike, maybe you can activate or target your leg muscles, your core muscles. Personally, I do squats and lunges and different variations of lunges, weighted squats, and I feel like I hope it helps because I haven't really tested myself on the bike. But it's super helpful, just to stay active, diba? You don't have to, go far to ride like all the way to Rizal, etc. Right now, parang we were talking about like the importance of exercise. You just have to keep moving, and I think that's very very important, right?
Yeah, I think it's important to note that you don't like the important thing right now is not so much performance as it is
Yes.
staying physically active because I really understand because I before cycling, like even before the pandemic, I came from a very sedentary lifestyle, and why I never got to work out at first was because I was so fixated on like being good at it. So I was like, okay, I'll start na lang when I'm okay. But in order to be good at it, you have to do it. So
Right.
I think a good maybe piece of advice is like just try to find something that you like doing. Any physical activity that you like doing, even if it's just walking or dancing, like Zumba, there
Right.
the videos online, just something that you can do, you can find yourself doing consistently because we've mentioned this in another episode that I mean we're going to yeah sorry yes sorry my train of thought like went somewhere else, but then but what's really important is to stay physically active, just to um build our immune system and contribute to preventing like overloading of hospitals and
Right. Right.
staying healthy, guys.
And also, staying safe
Yeah.
um, while doing the workouts. Para you gotta know your fitness level. Because there are a lot of workouts that you can follow, na you can find online, but not all are like safe or like okay for your level. For example, baka meron iba sobrang advanced na pala. So you gotta be aware of your fitness level. And also, there are parang studios, for example, now na parang may mga live workouts.
Mhm.
So again, GCN may live workout, but merong next level na you do it through, for example, Zoom. So the
Yes.
coach is there. Merong video na you can follow, very informative. You can follow the movements, the form, for example. But the coach is there just looking at your form or checking your form and coaching you like live para make sure that you're safe. So you can also explore that. So personally, parang I know a couple like live hit sessions, live indoor cycling session, indoor cycling from the spinning, indoor spinning, something like that.
Yeah. Actually, the World Health Organization came out with a few tips then that are similar to what you mentioned, King. No? So their advice is to take short active breaks during the day, follow online exercise classes, and actually in the Philippines it's interesting because the, several of the dance studios across Metro Manila have started setting up their online dance classes.
Yeah.
It's also important to walk, stand up, relax, and also eat healthy. So They've placed even in their website for our viewers. You can check the World Health Organization website for examples of home-based exercises that you can do. Some of us probably will find, well, usually we find these simple exercises full, but just being active really goes a long way um, to our personal health and also our mental health, and being able to stay motivated while we're working at home.
Yeah, that's true. So now, I was wondering, like before, so there are talks about ECQ, GCQ, and different developments of the quarantine. Um, but for you guys, what would be the ideal situation before we go back to cycling, we go back to riding outdoors to this, I don't know, new normal, whatever. Like ano yung dapat in place muna? What do you guys think?
Well, from our news today, the first thing I guess is clearer and more considerate government guidelines, right? Even during this podcast, when we were during this episode when we were discussing the different acronyms, we weren't sure yet, and even in our comment section, some of them are asking what the situation would really be. So we need proper government guidelines, I think, that would help us understand and know how to do things safely.
Right, right. For me, yun din, we discussed earlier na we could, establish safe infrastructure. I think some of our viewers agree to that also. Dapat safe and secure for cyclists. More public places for people to, to just relax.
Yeah.
On the bike or kahit not on the bike, parang I think ito yung super, super helpful. And lastly, I think, just awareness, plain awareness about cycling and how, and the potential of cycling to, different, in utility of cycling, not just for transportation, but also for exercise, physical and mental health included. I think that's very important,
Okay. Before we end, let's check some of the comments. Cheese and Nearest asked, have you all thought of having a live indoor cycling stream? Yes, we were hoping to do that last Monday, but we weren't sure if it was something that people would be interested in.
Maybe we can set up a poll if you
Yes.
guys are interested.
If you are interested in an indoor cycling stream, we can do it together and ride our bikes indoors. I will try. I will personally join and try.
We can set up an event right
Yeah,
there.
leave a comment and then we'll take note of it. FJ Martin also says we're on GCQ, and though our company wants us to work at home longer, I'll be having a chance to climb and ride Rizal after work. Good for you, FJ. Please ride for me.
Right for Jan.
Hashtag ride for Jan.
Ride for Jan.
But I'm super interested with the live stream, the indoor cycling live stream. Like, tell us or like recommend what you have in mind. Like, for example, do you want us to, create a program, parang work coaching, whatever, or like we can watch a GCN video together, or like we can do a group ride on Zwift. So let us know.
Are there any other comments, Jan?
Well, Robert Young says he will watch an indoor cycling stream. Velo says just do it. Do it. Do it. And Chita Nearest concludes by saying hashtag ride for Jan.
Yes. Okay, so thank you so much to everyone who tuned in to our live stream episode. So if you enjoyed it, do subscribe to the Cycling Matters podcast on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you can find podcasts. Our episodes are the next best thing to riding your bike. Just search Cycling Matters podcast on your favorite podcast platform well, maybe brewing your morning coffee or tea. Put on some earphones and enjoy the discussion. You can catch more of Cycling Matters on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, or on our website at cyclingmatters.ph. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for everyone who commented, gave their
Thanks,
feedback.
everyone.
And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Cycling Matters podcast. Until then, ride and stay safe, Philippines. Bye!
Bye. Good night.